Even though Indonesia and Peru are located in opposite sides of the world, the relations between the two nations have not been better. A comprehensive economic partnership is being finalized right now as we speak. The next president of Indonesia will visit Peru for the APEC Summit, and in 1 year, a half-century of relations will be celebrated between the two countries. Now, to get a true Peruvian perspective on the relations of Indonesia and Peru, I'm now at the Embassy of Peru. I'm going to meet the Ambassador of Peru to Indonesia, His Excellency Mr. Luis Suboyama. Follow me on my conversation with him.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi. Buenos dias, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you so much for welcoming me here. This is my first time ever at the Embassy of Peru. I'm very excited to learn more about Peruvian culture and also the relationship between our countries. But first, I have to comment on this majestic piece of art that I see here. I'm completely unaware of the origin, though. Could you please tell me more about it?
Yeah, for sure. First, thank you for this visit to our embassy, and I'm excited as well to share the different perspective of Peru in this frame of the Peru and Indonesia relationship. This is what we call Kipu.
Kipu,
Kipu.
okay.
Q-I-P-U.
Okay.
It's a way of keeping data on the old times of Peru. It's not only for the Incas, it's previous to the Incas. The first Kipu that were found is more or less 5,000 years ago.
Wow.
And it was used, as I said, to keep data for the merchants, for the militaries, for any people who want to keep information. We should remember that all Peruvians, as far as we know up to now, didn't have written documents.
Yeah.
So this Kipu was used as a kind of information tool for them.
So it's sort of like a logging tool, to keep a logbook.
Logging of information.
Information. Wow.
From the old Peruvians.
Okay, that's fascinating. Now, I hear you have other things to show me in the
for
embassy.
Sure. Let's go.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, this I recognize.
Yeah, this is Machu Picchu, one photograph, and the other is Arequipa City. These both are old photographs from the 20s, maybe 30s.
Oh.
And this was part of our exhibition last year in Jakarta.
This is one of the oldest photographs then of Machu Picchu.
And from Peruvian schools.
Yeah.
Photography schools. From Cusco, actually.
Oh, okay.
Both of them.
Republic of Peru is a country in western South America, located along the Pacific coast. Peru borders Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Bolivia, and Chile, making it a geographically diverse nation. The Andes Mountains run through the center, while the Amazon rainforest covers the east, offering some of the world's most stunning. Peru is the 19th largest country in the world and the third largest in South America, and has a population over 32 million, and its capital and largest city is Lima. Home to the ancient Inca civilization, Peru's historical sites are legendary, with Machu Picchu as the crown jewel, drawing millions of visitors annually. Peru ranks high in social freedom. It is an active member of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, the Pacific Alliance, the World Trade Organization, and the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, and is considered as a middle power. With its mix of ancient heritage and dynamic growth, Peru continues to be a captivating destination for both adventure and cultural exploration.
welcome to Ambassador Corner on TVRI World with me, Siska Becker, and my very special guest today, the Ambassador of Peru to Indonesia, Timor-Leste, and ASEAN, His Excellency Mr. Luis Tsuboyama. And he's right here, seated next to me. Buenos dias, Your Excellency.
Selamat pagi.
Very happy to be here. Thank you so much for your graciousness, for having us here in your beautiful office. We are very excited to talk with you this morning.
Same as me. Thank you very much for the invitation to be in your program.
Of course, it is our honor and privilege. So, Your Excellency, if you don't mind, we want to start off our conversation with a deep dive into the diplomatic relations between our country. Because next year, we'll be celebrating 50 years of diplomatic relationship between Peru and Indonesia. So, in your perspective and knowledge and experience, how would you recap the relations we've had so far? And what do you think is the most promising aspects of the future of the relations of our countries?
Thank you for the question, to start this interview with that, because as you said, next year we will celebrate the 50 years anniversary of the diplomatic relations, of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Peru and Indonesia. And so far, the relationship between the two countries has been so good. We have developed a kind of approachment on different fields between the two countries. Our relationship with Asia in general is based on economic interests from Peru with the rest of this continent. And we have started a very strong and visible presence in Southeast Asia in the last 30 years when we opened embassies. This embassy has been established in the 90s, as well as other embassies in Southeast Asia that we have. And from that time up to now, my predecessors have been working very hard to expand our economic relations with Indonesia. So I arrived at the time that we must jump from a quite normal relationship to upgrade our links with this country in a different level. So we will start, I think, our 50 years anniversary with the Comprehensive Economic Agreement Partnership, the CEPA, that we are negotiating with officials from Indonesia. At the end of this month, in 2 weeks or 1 week, we will receive again in Jakarta a delegation of officials from the Ministry of Trade that they will discuss with the counterparts of Ministry of Trade of Indonesia the details of this CEPA. And we hope there is the political will of both sides to announce the conclusion of the negotiations during the visit of elected President Prabowo to Peru while he's participating and paying official visit to my country in November.
So I think in summary, it's safe to say that both Indonesia and Peru see each other as an attractive trade partner.
Certainly.
And also we are both very enthusiastic to boost even more trade relations. But so far it's going pretty good. According to my note, Peru is one of Indonesia's most important trading partners in the Latin American region. In 2023, the total trade between Indonesia and Peru reached more than $400 million. Much room for improvement, of course. I'm very excited to see what the future holds for us in terms of trade relations.
I think your data is correct, and I think it's, now we are over 500, but favorable to Indonesia, much more favorable to Indonesia, and this is the challenge for Peru. Our economy is, we are a mining country. 90% of our exports are minerals. We are also becoming a very important exporters of fruit and vegetables. Now we are, I think, the 8th most important exporter of food in the world, to the world. So these are the challenge that we have with Indonesia. And I think the CEPA will help to boost this relationship. We don't pretend to sell minerals to Indonesia. You also are a very important producer of the same minerals that we have, copper. But we are targeting Indonesia and the rest of Southeast Asia for our food exports. And this is related with food security issue that we face in all the world.
Now, Your Excellency, I want to circle back to the point that you made about the upcoming visit of our future president.
Yep.
Because right now, as we speak, as this interview takes place, Prabowo Subianto is still president-elect.
Yep.
But in a very short time, he'll be inaugurated. And one of the first major foreign visits that he'll make is to Peru for the APEC Summit. Now, maybe you can give us a little bit of a heads up. What do you think will be discussed primarily between Indonesia and Peru at the APEC Summit?
Yeah, the APEC Summit is a week of activities and conferences that will gather the APEC leaders from the 21 economies. The week is divided between the ministers' meeting and certainly the new Minister of Foreign Affairs and the new Minister of Trade of Indonesia also will join and will discuss with our counterparts or their counterparts in the Asia-Pacific region. And then we have the APEC CEO Summit. That the APEC CEO Summit is targeted to the businessmen, to the business sector of the APEC region. And as far as I know, in the agenda of APEC CEO Summit, the participation of President-elect Prabowo is considered.
Okay.
And he will deliver a presentation, I think, about the digital economy or some issue related with that. And at the end, we have the leaders meeting and the retreat. The APEC agenda in this year considers empowerment, inclusiveness, and sustainability. This is the proposal from Peru as a host economy. And the discussion will be around that. Peru, we consider there is no growth, possible growth, if we don't include the people in this growth. And this inclusiveness considered also from the economic point of view, how you integrate the people who are in the working in the informal sector becoming formal. This is a challenge for Peru, and I think for different countries like Indonesia, we have especially micro enterprises that are not formalized. How do you integrate these small enterprises and the people who work there into the formal economy? Why? If you are part of the formal economy, you receive loans, you receive public service, access to education, to health, and your living standards increase. So this is the proposal from Peru that will be discussed among the leaders. And the other thing important within inclusiveness is the role of women.
Okay.
Women are important, very important part of the economy. Women, in the case of Peru, I think own micro enterprises more than 70% of the micro enterprises. And the study says that women-led companies hire more women. So this is quite interesting. And when we talk about sustainability, we think that the habit of consumption need to change.
Yeah.
There is a lot of waste that as humans, as consumers, we produce, and we need to change that kind of habit consumption that we have.
All right. I love the theme of this year's APEC Summit because truly to get sustainable growth, you do have to empower and include.
Yep.
So hopefully we get a lot of fruitful conversations based on this theme. Mr. Ambassador, we've learned so much about the relations between Indonesia and Peru. So we're going to take a little break now. But when we come back, if you let us, we want to take this very valuable opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we'll be back really shortly.
Okay.
So don't go anywhere. Ambassador Corner will be right back right here on TVRA World. Welcome back to Ambassador Corner with our very special guest, His Excellency Mr. Luis Suboyama, the Ambassador of Peru to Indonesia, Timor-Leste, and ASEAN. Mr. Ambassador, as we said before we took that break, we would love to know you personally. And I would have to say, I was very much intrigued when I learned about your background, Peruvian, Japanese. I mean, for most of us in Indonesia, I think we are quite unaware of how rich the fabric of society is actually in Peru. And to learn there's actually a lot of different communities, even Asian communities, living and flourishing in Peru. That's quite fascinating to know. Please tell us more specifically about your background.
Thank you for that question, because my background represents what is Peru. My country is a multi-ethnic society, multicultural society. I am part of that. We have a historical legacy of pre-Columbian civilization. The most well-known are the Incas, but it's interesting that the Incas is the last civilization before the Spaniards arrived, and the Incas were around only for 200 years. The first urban settlement in the Americas is in Peru. And history says that it was built like 5,000 years ago. It's Caral, the name is Caral, north of Lima. So after that, we have different kinds of civilizations, and that has brought influence on the creation of the Inca Empire. Is the well-known among many people in the world. But after the Incas, the Inca Empire was conquered by the Spaniards, so we have a mass of indigenous people mixing with the Spaniards. So we have what we call in Spanish mestizo society. There's a mix of Spaniards and indigenous. Maybe 60 to 70% of the Peruvian population now is mestizo, and it's a high level like in Guatemala or Mexico. After that, during the colonial period, we received also a wave of people coming from Africa, unfortunately as slaves, but they settled down, and centuries later they brought the cultural influence. A lot of our cuisine, gastronomy, is influenced by this descendants of black people. So, and the last wave were the Japanese. The first group of Japanese arrived in Peru in 1899. So this year we are celebrating the 125 years of the first group of settlement of Japanese. And they came to Peru between that year and before the war, arrived more or less 25,000 Japanese. And on the 20s, my grandfather moved to Peru. So you need to check also the history of Japan on the time. It was a very difficult economics. They were facing a difficult economic situation in the 20s in Japan. The period of industrialization in Japan also created a lot. The number of people, also population grew up. So in that part of the history trends, my grandfather was sent. On the time he was working in a company in Tokyo, he was sent to Peru to work in one of the branches. And then he decided to become independent and settle down in Peru, married with my grandmother, who is also Japanese, and he opened a small business. We faced a very difficult time during my family on the time, during the war, because Japan was the enemy of the US. Peru was allied with the US. So we faced that difficult situation. But after the war, they decided to settle down definitely in Peru. So I am the third generation of that group. And we have now maybe fourth or fifth generation of Peruvian Japanese. We are more or less 40 to 50,000 Peruvian Japanese from a total population of 33 million. So far, I think we are quite successful. Our identity is 100% Peruvian. But we, of course, we still continue keeping our cultural traditions. Like at my home, I eat a lot of homemade food. No sushi or sushi. This is for restaurants, but homemade food with my grandmother who lived with me. We speak in Japanese, we read Japanese magazines, we watch Japanese television. My Japanese is no good, but I'm trying to catch sometimes with the language. We keep the relationship with our Japanese family in Japan. So this is my personal experience.
My quick question before we go to the next segment. What has been the most fascinating aspect of Indonesia that you learned since you first arrived here and posted here in 2022?
I think the most fascinating thing about Indonesia for me since I arrived is I thought I knew a little of Indonesia, but when I came here I didn't know anything because Indonesia, as Peru is a country, in this case, an archipelago, and literally it's an archipelago, 70,000 islands. So you have different kind of culture, different kind of way of thinking. We are in Java, and I understand Java is kind of where a lot of movement happen here. The capital is here, but currently because you have Nusantara. But trying to understand these different aspects of Indonesia that will influence the process of decision making and dealings with the Indonesian authorities, as well as with the business sector, academia. And it helped me also to understand we need to go out of Jakarta as embassy. And we have done this year. We started first with the easy one, which is close to us, is Bandung. So we managed to facilitate the academic cooperation or discussion or conversation between UNPAR, the Catholic University of Bandung,
West Java and Bandung,
plus with the Catholic University of Peru. Then we held exhibitions, photography exhibitions, cultural exhibitions in Bandung, with Bandung Institute of Technology, with UNPAR, with galleries in Braga Street. We organized gastronomy festivals in one of the hotels, Gaia Hotel there. So this gave us, okay, we can do this outside of Jakarta. So the next one was Surabaya. We moved to the east of Java, bringing a photographic exhibition. And then the last one was in Yogyakarta.
So, Your Excellency, I'm very happy to tell you that us here in TVRI World are very happy to assist you in that mission to introduce Peruvian culture and heritage to Indonesia and to the world. So in the next segment, we'll talk nothing but about Peruvian culture and tradition and art. So stay with me while we take a little break, but then we'll get back. Please let us know everything you know about Peruvian culture.
Of course.
Ambassador Cornell will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We are now in the last segment and my most favorite part of Ambassador Corner. We're going to learn more, deep dive in fact, into the Peruvian culture with my very special guest, His Excellency Mr. Luis Suboyama, the Ambassador of Peru to Indonesia, Timor-Leste and ASEAN. Mr. Ambassador, I'm very excited now that we have this feast upon us. But before we start talking about Peruvian culinary landscape, I just want to give you a little bit of information about my personal favorite restaurants. There's this one restaurant in Bandung in West Java, and it's Peruvian Japanese cuisine, and I love it. I don't know if you've been there or know about it, but it's one of my most favorite places to visit whenever I visit Bandung. Peruvian Japanese, but I understand now after hearing you speak about Peruvian culture, how rich the fabric of society is, that must be just one tiny aspect of the Peruvian culinary landscape. So please enlighten us. What is Peruvian food in a nutshell?
When you mention Peruvian food, I must say that it's, we have different Peruvian food. Like Peruvian Japanese, one of the examples that our culinary tradition shows. The cuisine, as in all the world in different countries, is a reflection of the society that come from. And my society is multicultural, multi-ethnic. So the food is a reflection of the indigenous heritage that we have, the Spanish heritage, and European, African, Chinese, and Japanese. So this is one aspect. And the other thing is why the Peruvian cuisine is well known and very much appreciated is because we have a very generous geography. So we face the Pacific Ocean, so we are very rich in different kinds of seafood. We have the highlands where you have different kinds of crops, and we have a vast forest in the Amazonia. And one of the basic ingredients in the Peruvian cuisine that you cannot find in the Peruvian Japanese is potato. Because Peruvian Japanese are more seafood oriented. Potato is the basic staple of the Peruvian cuisine, like rice in Indonesia. We eat rice also every day, but the rice we eat is because of the influence of Chinese.
I see.
But the potato is from the old times, and one of the dishes that later we will taste is we call causa.
Okay.
And I choose this dish because potato comes from Peru. Is the origin of the potato is Peru, and we have between 3,000, 4,000 type of potatoes.
Really?
And unfortunately, in the market, you find only 5 to 10, or they are selling, but you have the 3 to 4,000 kind of potato. And potato is staples for all Peruvians, and we eat a lot of different presentation. The other is ceviche. Ceviche is made from raw fish.
Okay.
Ceviche,
I love ceviche,
yeah.
by the way. Yes.
And ceviche you can find
in
most of Latin American countries, but the preparation is different. Before the Spaniards arrived, the ceviche was prepared with a fruit called tumbo, a very high level of citric.
Okay.
So because the citric, the cooking of the fish was quite well done.
Okay.
But the current ceviche that we eat is because the Japanese influence, and now the ceviche, the preparation in ceviche should be made within 5 minutes. You have the fish, the raw fish, you add lemon, chili, onion, and you immediately eat. If you leave to marinate longer, it's not anymore for us.
I'm making a mental note now as you're speaking.
Yeah, ceviche.
Okay,
Yeah.
ceviche.
And we have sweet potatoes. Of course, these sweet potatoes are from Indonesia, but sweet potatoes are part also of our kind of original crops in Peru. And we have, looks like a simple salad, but actually this is quite healthy.
Yes.
This is organic quinoa. And quinoa comes also from the highlands. You find in Peru, in Bolivia, maybe in Argentina or Chile, but this is crop from the Andes, the highlands. And this is very nutritious, as you, most of the people know very well.
Very popular nowadays.
Very popular nowadays. This is, give me the opportunity that we are trying to export quinoa to Indonesia for this market of people who are conscious about health.
Yes.
So, and the last is a dessert. Actually, it's a cookie we call alfajor. And in the case of the Peruvian alfajor, it's a small one and made with maizena. It's a different kind of flour and kind of milk caramel inside. And this is more Arab influence for us.
Oh, okay.
So it's a different kind of culture. So this showcase the different fabric, as the word you use, I think is appropriate, of what is Peru about. The social fabric, the cultural fabric, the ethnic fabric that is represented, and is part of our identity and our culture.
Okay, so now before we say goodbye to our audience, Your Excellency, maybe we can end this conversation with a tip to our viewers. When I told my friends that I'm meeting with the ambassador of Peru to Indonesia, all of them, 100% said, I want to go to Machu Picchu. Please ask him, what is the best time to visit to make sure that I have a clear view and I can post that on my social media?
Machu Picchu is archaeological area in the highlands of Peru, near Cusco. So logistically speaking, you need, for connection, first you need to arrive to Lima, the capital. All international flights arrive to Lima, you arrive to Lima. And as I said to one of your colleagues that will participate next month in APEC, if you stop over in Lima, go directly to any of the restaurants. High-end, medium, like Warung, any restaurant, any...
So food is paradise.
Yeah, food is paradise. Lima itself is a food destination in Latin America. After that, you move to Cusco by flight, 1 hour flight, 1 hour half on flight. And then from Cusco, Cusco was the old capital of the Incas. It was destroyed during the Spanish conquerors and rebuilt as a colonial city. Now, so when you arrive to Cusco, you have these buildings and fortifications from the Inca period and from the Spanish colonial period. So from Cusco, you take a train
Okay.
to Machu Picchu. It takes 3-4 hours train.
Okay.
Because Machu Picchu is it's not defined yet, but some people said it was like the resort of the Incas, of the royalties.
Oh, wow.
It's not a military fortification
Okay.
that before they used to say.
Yeah.
It's like a religious center, a place of relaxation, because it's very small. Actually, it's very
Yeah.
small. It's not that big. And you can visit any time of the year. You just need to, because you go up on the mountains and you
Yeah.
have the view of the citadel.
Yes.
So early morning is very misty. So you wait until 8, 9 in the morning, and
Okay.
then all the clouds disappear and you have the view of Machu Picchu.
Mr. Ambassador, we've learned so much from you in this conversation. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time and your stories and your insights. We've got a lot of references as well on how to enjoy Peru if we get a chance to get there. Hopefully the embassy can also throw some events that we can attend to learn more about the beautiful culture.
We will,
of Peru.
we will show and share with you the activities that we will host, especially next year, 50th anniversary between of diplomatic relation between Peru and Indonesia.
We'll be looking forward to that.
Thank you for that.
You know what they say, the best way to get to a person's heart is through the stomach, aka food. So please get me acquainted with Peruvian culture through the food.
Yeah.
And with that, I thank each and every one of you for joining our conversation. Thank you once again, Mr. Ambassador. We'll see you soon at another edition of Ambassador Corner on TVRI World. Until then, take care and goodbye. So, Mr. Ambassador, which one should I try first?
I think this.